From Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight. Now from
Welcome into your Sports Tonight. I'm Sports Director Bailey Burmaster alongside our digital producer Ellie Parker. We are having a fun time today. We're going to talk a little bit about Mel Kiper releasing his big board. We're going to talk through that. The Falcons impressed by Baker Mayfield, who's had an up and down career but now is in Tampa. And then a little bit about Georgia Tech and the big win they had in Miami and if they can keep it going this week. And then obviously you have Atlanta United season finale on a big decision day on Saturday for the MLS. We'll get a better picture of all the playoffs to come. But let's just start here. Ellie, I'm going to read some of these to you and get your opinions and hot takes, and we can discuss. And
oh boy, do I have a hot take here.
Okay, that's what we love to hear. That is what this show is for. So Mel Kiper updating his big board for the top 25 rankings for the 2024 NFL Draft. Shocking. The first one is Caleb Williams, the quarterback from Southern California. His coach is Lincoln Riley. Something that was really interesting to me was earlier this week there were reports that whoever ends up drafting him, he's telling them he wants a part of ownership of the team.
Which you think the McCaskies are really gonna give him a part of ownership?
No one is gonna get that. The only place he can get part ownership is the Packers because they're public. His 39-cent whatever, his little bit. But I think that's absolutely wild. This man has not even played a down in the NFL yet.
Tom Brady couldn't get an ownership
Aaron
stake
Rodgers
in
couldn't.
Raiders.
Aaron Rodgers couldn't. So I think it's wild.
It's so wild. What is this? Who does this boy think he is?
That's what I'm saying. In USC, dude, you're playing in the Pac. I think the Big 12's better than the Pac.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Outside of Oregon and Washington, yes. I'm
not saying he's not good. I'm just saying it's a wild thing to ask. He still deserves to be number one on this draft board. Are we agreeing with that, though? We don't want to, but we're saying yeah?
Yes, okay. But we'll get to that.
Okay. So Drake May is number 2 North Carolina quarterback. He's had 2 400-yard games through his first 6 games, including a season-high 442 against Syracuse. But once again, it's Syracuse. And everyone's desperate for a quarterback, so the quarterbacks are always going to be high. At 3, you have Marvin Harrison Jr., he is a wide receiver from Ohio State. He's, been very consistent for them. They have a big matchup this week against Penn State. Drew Aller, the quarterback, I covered him a bit in Ohio when he was at Medina High School. He's pretty good. And then Brock Bowers coming in at number 4. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I agree. I think he could even be number 3. I think he's one of the best tight end prospects to come around in a long time, maybe even better than a little bit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think he warrants the high position.
I think so too. I think he is like a true Swiss Army knife. He can block, he can run the ball, he can catch the ball, he can really do it all. He's just a pure athlete. And then number 5, Sanders, quarterback, Colorado, Shedeur Sanders. Thoughts on him?
Number 5.
Overhyped?
Yeah, I'm going to say he's overhyped. That's hot take number 1. Shedeur Sanders, overhyped just a little bit. Yes, Colorado is better than what they were last year. They were 1-11. That's not a high bar.
So let me read this little blurb on this big board. It says Sanders ranks 2nd in the nation with 347.7 passing yards per game this season. His ability to make big plays could be attractive to NFL teams. While he has some things to fix, his pedigree and ceiling could improve his chances to go in the first round.
That sounds like a project quarterback, doesn't it?
It sounds like it's too early to really say, but everyone likes the hype. And I will say this. I think what people learned about him is the edge. I think before you didn't really know if he had that it factor that quarterbacks have to have. And I think all of a sudden you're going, okay, he's got some moxie to him. And maybe that's enticing.
And, his father is Deion Sanders, a guy who had that thing.
Correct. Okay, so you said you had some hot takes here.
So you've got the big board.
Yep. You need me to scroll?
Scroll down to number 6 there.
6? Okay, got it.
Olu Fashanu?
Yep.
We've been over this before. I'm a Bears fan.
Yes, you are.
They're probably going to have 2 very high picks, if not 1 and 2.
Okay.
If they keep both, I want Olu Fashanu and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay.
No quarterbacks. None.
So are you?
Don't even consider it.
Are you
please.
chewing the Justin Fields
I'm
train?
not chewing the Justin Fields train. I don't think he's the guy. But of the 3 quarterbacks in the top 5, I don't think any of them are the guy either. Shadur Sanders, it's too early. Drake May is a North Carolina quarterback. What happened the last time the Bears
But you
drafted
wouldn't
a North
take
Carolina
you
quarterback?
wouldn't take Caleb Williams with the Bears?
No! Did you watch the Notre Dame game? He got exposed.
He did.
And he's going to be going up against NFL defenses with the Bears' offensive line. The guy's going to get eaten alive.
Okay. But you have Justin Fields, and he hasn't been as great as he
Yes,
has been.
but you can find quarterbacks
I'm saying that
elsewhere.
as respectful as I can by whispering it.
You can find quarterbacks elsewhere. Is Justin Fields the guy? No. Are any of the other 3
So
guys
okay,
on
here's
this top 5?
here's how I'm going to kind of segue into our next topic. Would you take Baker Mayfield in Chicago?
Honestly, yes. Yes, I would.
Okay, interesting. Over Justin
Yes,
Fields.
Yes, I would.
Really?
I think he. Maybe this is just being him in Tampa because the Bears are cursed and they haven't had.
I mean, who are the Bears' offensive weapons?
DJ Moore and a bunch of dudes.
Did you see my face?
Yeah.
Like, they don't have like a Mike Evans-esque
No.
guy.
They also don't have an offensive line, so whoever's behind center is going to have to be scrambling a lot because they end up blocking each other and not the defense.
Yeah. It's not great. It's not great. Okay, so that's going to segue, since we're already talking about Baker Mayfield. The Falcons will be facing Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks this week. It's interesting because both of these offenses have kind of had their roller coasters. Baker Mayfield has definitely had a roller coaster in his career. Obviously taken first overall in the draft. I believe it was in 2018.
Yeah, I want to say it was 2018.
To Cleveland, spent some time there, didn't get extended. They booted him in favor of Deshaun Watson, a Gainesville, Georgia native. And then he went to the Panthers and had a quarterback battle with Sam Darnold.
Which he lost.
He
to
lost.
Sam Darnold.
Correct. That is still something that would hurt my ego. And then they eventually shipped him to the Rams for like the later part of the season to finish off with them while Matt Stafford was injured. And then he didn't have a team, and now he's with Tampa Bay for a year. So he's been with 4 teams since 2021. But he's playing with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, and, he hasn't given up as many interceptions. He's using his feet a lot better. Now, granted, it makes it nice when you have Mike Evans, who you can just toss it to. But safety Jesse Bates with the Falcons is someone who has seen him a lot from his time in the AFC North, and they were in part of the same draft class. And he basically said, Mike's going to get him right. We know that he's going to throw to Mike in any scenario where things fall apart. But you can tell he's not making as many mistakes. And even Jerry Gray for the Falcons said it was like astonishing that he's been able to play a lot cleaner.
Yeah, I think part of that is the safety valve of Mike Evans. He's gotten out because Mike Evans is a really good wide receiver.
He is.
Part of that is also, I think he finally just has some stability without the pressure of being the number 1 overall pick.
I was going to say the same thing.
He can just do his thing.
He doesn't have to worry about impressing. He knows it's a 1-year deal. If he can manage it, he can manage it. If not, it's a 1-year deal anyway, so he can kind of have some fun. But he always plays his best ball when I feel like his back is against the wall or there's no pressure and he's just having fun. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about Georgia Tech because it's been an interesting season. They are 3-3 hosting Boston College.
They should not be 3-3. We'll
No,
start out with that.
they lost to Bowling Green at home. They're hosting Boston College, who's also 3-3. That game is a Saturday game, 12 kick. But they are coming off a wild win against Miami, 23-20. Miami really blew the management of that game.
Yeah, Miami lost that game. Georgia Tech didn't win.
Correct. But a win is a win.
Yeah.
They had a nice bye, and so now they're going to try and keep that momentum going. Any thoughts before we hear from Brent Key on these Yellow Jackets?
I think they can really keep this momentum going because they're playing against a team that might be a mirage. That secondary is probably not actually that good, and the Jackets have a decent passing attack.
They do.
Haynes King behind center.
Yeah, the former Texas A&M quarterback. I mean, he's really slinging it. So let's hear what Brent Key had to say earlier this week concerning this matchup and his team.
after the bye week, had a chance during the bye week to get three days of practice in, a couple of lifts, conditioning work, and then a few days for those guys to really get off and decompress and refresh their minds and recover mentally as well as the physical part of it. But had some good just back to basics practices Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Very limited introduction to the opponent and scouting report, those things, and then players had off Friday, Saturday, and then back to work on Sunday. So the normal week progressed really from Sunday on. So really the thing we've talked about with these guys is being able to sustain football games, sustain drives, sustain games, but now sustain the way you play week to week, and keep the same identity that you create one week to the next, and that everyone goes into football wanting to win. And every team that wakes up on a Saturday morning, I'm not sure there's one person that doesn't say, yeah, we want to win, but there's the ability to want to win and then work to win. And what I said to the team was, there's a want ethic and there's a work ethic, and your identity has to be your work ethic, because there's a lot of things we want that we're not going to get. 50% of the teams on Saturday don't get what they want. So you got to put the work in, and you've got to be consistent in the way you do it, and you got to continue to elevate yourself in the way you prepare and practice every week. So we got a good opponent this week in Boston College. Excited to be back home and play these guys. They've done a good job with their offense, good job with their defense, solid on special teams, play really complete team football, and you're looking at a team that is really 2 plays away from really a 5-1 record. And they offensively, they've got veterans on the offensive line. They've got quarterback who's really doing a good job of running the offense. They're playing to his strengths. They've got some receivers that can make plays in the slot, plays on the edge. Then they got 2 big backs, and I know the quarterback gets a lot of the notoriety right now, and rightfully so, with the way that he's carrying that offense and running the football and being able to throw it on the play action and boots and and those things. But it's those 2 running backs now, they're a load. They're 215, 220-pound backs, and they're going to get downhill on you. And we've got to be able to line up and flat ball the line of scrimmage and prepare to stop those guys. And so it's really a 3-headed monster you got there with the running game that they're going to bring here to Bobby Dodd this Saturday. So defensively, they've done really been a very similar defense for the last 3 or 4 years, and growing within in that scheme and being able to make the adjustments and keeping things in front of them. And they've gotten better every week, and they've got their linebackers, one of the top 3 or 5 tacklers in the conference. And then up front, they've got solid guys who are going to play heavy on you and try to gap you out and flat wall the line of scrimmage and keep everything out of the middle and bounce it outside the perimeter. So we got a big challenge for us this week. Had a good day of practice today, and looking forward to getting out there tomorrow and continuing a week of preparation. So with that, have any questions?
Questions? Rob?
Do you feel that the bye week came at the right time as far as getting everybody back, healthy, and maybe get back to where you were health-wise at the start of the season?
Yeah, well, I don't think you ever get back to where you were at the start of the season. That's the nature of football in general. It's who can have the best player availability as this time of the season comes, who can be the healthiest. No one's going to be completely healthy, and then who has the mental capacity and the mental toughness to push through those things. And like I said, everyone wants to win on Saturday and go play, but how are you going to prepare during the week when you're banged up and bumps and bruises? But yeah, I thought it was a good time. It was a great time for us to be able to recharge a little bit, but also focus on a lot of things we got to improve on.
In terms of just the way the team's played, they've shown quarters here and there, 2 games with pretty solid performances, but just how do you get that full 60, and is that kind of the big talking point at this point, is just put the full 60 on tape every week? Yeah,
that's what we played for 60 minutes in the last game, but what's your identity? Your identity is not what you did prior, it's what you do next, and how you can consistently do that. And that's why I talked to the team this week about having a want ethic versus a work ethic. And everyone wants to go do it, but we got to put the work in during the week and then have the right frame of mind and the right mindset that we take the field with. And the game of football is played independent of any clock and independent of any scoreboard. And we've got to continue to keep that mindset, whether you're up or whether you're down in a football game. That's the biggest challenge right now is the continued, coaching and teaching and developing of the mindset that we have to have going into each week, but also into each game.
Coach Key, Castellanos has been a dual threat guy the whole time he's been in the backfield for BC, but one game pass heavy, the next game very, very run heavy. Do you have a sense of how they might want to attack you coming up on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean they're going to take what you give them. They've got really good coaches on their staff that are putting that kid in a really good position. And they're not going to line up and run it versus a 9-man box. They're going to have the ability to throw it and get the ball out. And a lot of what they do are add-ons and RPOs, that are added on to some of the heavier set run game. Some of the 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets where they have a single receiver out there, and if you're playing, one-on-one coverage or even off coverage, they're going to give, and you're going to give it to them. They're going to take those throws, and those are the ones that we've got to be really sure on the perimeter tackling. They're going to force some of your DBs into conflict with some of their reduced sets and some of the plays they run in the run game. And so we've got to be sure tacklers, but we've also got to make sure we've got our man, we're guarding our man, and we can play coverage that those, 4-yard, 5-yard, quick outs and quick slants don't turn into big gains.
Thanks. Yep.
Hey, Coach. You guys have had a lot of success on the road this season and even going into last season against conference opponents and ranked opponents, but you guys haven't had a win at home against a conference opponent in a while. How do you guys sort of emulate that success that you guys have been having against the road or on the road against those opponents here at Bobby Dodd?
God, I wish it was a magic switch to hit. I think we'd all go have the answer to everything if that was the case. But over the last several weeks, we've done a lot of self-scouting of what you do football-wise, play-wise, tendencies, those things. But this is also time for me to look at the program and things we've got to that we can make better. And just because you've done something for one week doesn't mean it's necessarily the right way to do things the next week. So you look at things that take place on the road. You look at things that take place at night games, and kind of where the mindset of the team is on a Friday night in meetings, and the next morning as you get into walkthroughs and your pregame meal. And one of the things that was really striking to me was we're on the plane we're going to Miami, and I think we took off at maybe 2:00 on a Friday, and within 10 minutes the whole team's asleep. Well, at home game they're in class, so there's some of those things that you look at. They've got a little bit of that time to get to the hotel about 4:00 on an away game, whereas for home games, it's a little bit of a later arrival. They get there, they park, they travel over here, they go to get on the bus, go to the hotel, go to dinner, bam, 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 bam. So we've made some adjustments in that in the Friday schedule on how we get our guys to the hotel, when we get them to the hotel, allow them to decompress, and then be able to come down on Friday nights and have more life, more energy, more camaraderie with each other on Friday nights. So we've made some overhaul adjustments with that to give the guys a little bit more of a mental break away from everything for our home games. And when sitting there looking at every one of the away games and how it took place, I think this is something that's really going to help these guys going into an early game on Saturday.
Hey, Brett, was one thing that you were able to accomplish during the bye week that normally you would not have time to do? Was there one thing that you got to do cross off the to-do list?
Slept in one day. Slept in on Sunday.
What is sleeping in for Coach Key?
Well, I'm the idiot. I forgot to turn my alarm off from Saturday. Saturday we sleep. We have staff meeting at 10 o'clock on game days when it's a later game. And I had my alarm set for 9:15. Well, I'd woke up before the alarm and never went off. And so Sunday morning, I think we got in probably about 5 a.m. from the game. And sure enough, about 9:15, my alarm goes off. And so I was up. But no, it was gave the staff off on Sunday. Gave everyone off on Sunday to be able to recover. And then we got in was able to get a lot of organizational meetings, staff meetings with different support staff areas within the football program. Was able to do a lot of self-scouting things. Was able to get a little bit of a jump, watching all three phases of Boston College. Then Saturday morning, so yeah, we gave coaches. Everyone was out recruiting on Friday. Then on Saturday, the games came on at noon, and I was getting ready to watch the games, and my daughter wasn't having any of that. So we had good playtime after our pancakes on Saturday morning. So had good playtime on Saturday, and put up some Halloween decorations, and ordered some more Halloween decorations on Amazon. A lot of talking clowns and skeletons around my house right now.
Now from Atlanta,
So he's talking about Halloween decorations. We are close to Halloween. I love Halloween, but that is not what Sports Tonight is about. It is about sports, so we're going to keep moving right along. Atlanta United, they have clinched a playoff spot, but where they stand in the playoffs remains to be seen. That will be a big part of Decisions Day on Saturday to see how the results may fall. They are on the road facing Cincinnati. Before we talk about the possible seeding where they could find themselves, depending on how that game goes with Cincinnati and a few other games, let's hear from Gonzalo Pineda about the team and moving forward in the playoffs.
Can you go through some of the injuries, the health of some of the guys that we talked a little bit about on Tuesday? Thierry looked like he trained today. He's good to go.
Yeah. Jamal Thierry is good to go. He's cleared with the protocol, and today he trained full. So yeah, he's good.
And Ozzy and Tyler.
Ozzy's back. Ozzy was back today. Was his first day in full, and yeah, we expect him to be available as well. Tyler not yet, progressing very well because his pain tolerance is really high, so he tolerates a lot of pain a lot, and so he's progressing very well. We just need to be cautious with that pain tolerance, like the injury is not there and we are just forcing things just because he doesn't feel it. But yeah, he's progressing very well.
And any concerns about the guys who came back from international duty, or did they all look good to go for training at first Saturday?
They all look very good, happy. I think most of them had minutes and they had good performances. Of course, Gigi's goal and Saba's assist, and Miles yesterday's performance, Wednesday's performance was very good. Bram, tough results for him, but he played both games, no problem. So, yeah, we have some momentum with those guys as well.
Knowing you could face Cincinnati in the playoffs, how much do you show on Saturday against them?
What do you mean in terms of tactics,
like set pieces or tactics or something you're thinking about for the playoffs that you might want to work on a little bit?
Yeah, we're working on us more than are we facing Cincinnati or not, or other teams may watch. We have played 33 games now. This is going to be the 34th. What surprises we can do? Yes, a couple set pieces, a couple maybe tactical adjustments, minimal, because now for me it's about continuity and momentum and getting the players ready, mentally ready, sharp. They have to feel how good the team looks when we play good. They have to feel that. They have to see that when we have the connections on the left, Shande, Caleb, Thiago, we look very good. When we have the connections on the right side, whether it's Edwin or Isaba, Brooks, we look very good. Gigi is a fantastic finisher. The double pivot, Rossetto, Tristan looks very good. The backline looks more solid every time. So I think they have to perceive that and now try to go with some momentum, continuity, more games, more preparations, and taking this one very seriously because it can be the last preparation before playoffs. We know the first game will be away in playoffs, so we can take this one as the best preseason we can have against the best team in the league away, and then if we can win away against Cincinnati, I think we can beat anyone in playoffs. So that's the mentality and how we're trying to approach this game.
To kind of mentally prepare the guys that they're not going to be playing at home as much as possible?
Yes, we already talk about that. Actually, probably you're scouting my sessions with them because we're talking that in the film, how we are approaching mentally to these type of games. They know the sequence we're going to have in the first phase of playoffs. In the quarterfinals, we're going to have away, home, but if we do a good job, it can stop there. right? And that's what I told them. If we make a statement now, we beat Cincinnati, which is a big task. We send them a statement that whoever we face in the next stage, and we beat them, then they have to come to the bench. And now it's that double sword. How you say that? And it is like, it can be an advantage for us if we win the first one. Then we come here and we secure the spot winning at home. So it can be one of those that we can play mentally with that situation, because it's not advantage, disadvantage, it's just a situation. We can make it 2 games only. We don't have to make it 3 games, 2 away, one at home. So it's that mental battle that we go through, how we do to make sure we understand how to secure 3 points away. And it's that mentality. A lot of that is mentality. A lot of that is the reactions. When we lose the ball, the transition moments, being switched on in every little moment of the game, the restarts, the free kicks. We saw what happened in Philadelphia. We switched off for 6 minutes and then the game was over almost. So it's understanding that the reactions, the mentality, the concentration, the focus has to be there in every action. That's playoffs mentality.
Okay, so that's Pineda talking about the team. And, I found it interesting. We talked to Miles Robinson a few months back, and he said there's a lot of new faces. We're still trying to get to know each other and play together on the field. And I feel like the last month and a half or so of their play, you've been able to see them grow a lot as a team. And hopefully they can keep that going, because it's time for playoffs. And obviously you always want to be successful. Ellie, you know the drill. How we end this one is always what's on your mind. I'll get us started tonight. There's been a lot of speculation and talk about Deshaun Watson as of late. He had that rotator cuff injury. He sat out a bunch. He sat out against the 49ers at home, and PJ Walker came in. Somehow they won that game. He talked to media for the first time this week since I think it was like September 22nd. Yeah.
It's been
a while, and it sounds like he practiced today and he's gonna try and play this Sunday against Indy.
Try being the key word.
Try being the key word. Do you have any opinion on this?
I don't think it's gonna go well. If he does, I think
he might just continue to get hurt.
Yeah, I think it's a little early for him to be back out there.
I mean, he's $230 million. That's how much he's worth. They said they want him to be healthy. They want to make sure he gets healthy. I feel
Jimmy
like
Haslam must be sweating right now.
What do you do? What do you do if this season doesn't go as planned? You got to make the playoffs. You got to make the playoffs at least. You went and got him. He played in 6 games at the end of the season last year, looked real rusty, but now he's had a full training camp. He's got a field. He's got the weapons, whether that's Amari Cooper, David Njoku, whoever it is. It's got to work. It's got to work. All right, wrap us up with what is on your mind tonight.
So what's on my mind is what's happening next on P3 Sports Network. Don't go too far. At 8 o'clock, the GHSA Game of the Week will kick off between Cal and Greater Atlanta Christian. 2 really fun offenses to watch, 2 really powerful offenses, so that'll be a fun watch, so don't go too far.
No, GAC, I believe, undefeated. Kel has 1 loss. This game is at Kel. It is going to be a massive game. I can only imagine what the atmosphere will be. They kick off at 8, I believe, but it's going to be right here on our air. We're going to have all the latest. We will also have that on Atlanta News First tonight at 11. We are also going to Mill Creek in Collins Hill, that game at Collins Hill, and then there's a big matchup between Westlake and Carrollton as well. So we will have all those highlights. And it's also worth mentioning the Hawks wrapping up the preseason tonight against the 76ers. That game is at 7. We will dive into that a little bit as season gets underway on Wednesday on the road, and then they open up at home Friday, a week from today, against the Knicks. All right, that will do it for this edition of Sports Tonight. For Ellie Parker, I'm Bailey Burmaster. That's it for Sports Tonight this week, but you can join us next week with all the debate and topics you want to hear right here. We will have the latest week. So we're also on podcast form, so you can tune in whenever you want. But that will do it for Sports Tonight. You all have a great night.
Bye.